So hello and welcome dear visitors of my channel. As I have recently received several requests about how to write a cover letter for a publication, I wanted to record a short video about what it is and why you need it. Uh, Whenever you submit your paper, in 90% of journals, you are being asked to submit a cover letter or a kind of description, and mostly the authors ignore this issue. It is not good. I used to be the person like this, and then I wondered why my papers are so often desk rejected. You have to understand the editor. The editor, first of all, says that the editor doesn't know you, doesn't know your work. He or she received the submission and has to understand whether it is fitting the journal, whether it is fitting the discussion, whether the paper has to go to reviewers whose time is valued. That is why in a cover letter, we try to simply explain why the paper matters, why it is important for this journal, why it should not be desk rejected. I have examples of several cover letters, but they have more or less the same structure. If we go now, I have the cover letter for, this is one of the papers that we submitted. Wherever you go, let's assume you go to the Journal of European Journal of Information Systems. You go to the journal website, you go to about this journal, then you go to editorial board and you find the name of the chief editor-in-chief. If it is a special issue, you take the names, all names of people from the special issue. There is a small difference in how you write a cover letter for a special issue and how you write a cover letter for the regular issue in the journal. I'll show you both examples. Let's assume that we want to write to this person. That's why we write, Dear Professor Convoy, and please check that it is a professor. Sometimes it is a doctor, not a professor. If you are writing for the European journal, they distinguish between the PhD and doctor. That's why if it is a professor, doctor, or professor, name, PhD, there could be a difference. And you write to this person, although most likely your email will land by the editor or maybe by managing editor, but they will know that you at least went to the website of the journal and you looked who is in charge. Second, look at the aims and scope, because you have to be sure that the paper that you submit also fits the aims and scope of the journal. We had once a submission where we submitted the paper and the journal worked mostly or only with qualitative research and conceptual papers, and we had a quantitative paper. If we had noticed it before, we could have saved time that went on rewriting the paper, sending it to a journal, and then getting the waiting for some time and getting the desk reject, which means you have no commands and you don't know how to make your paper better. So then you go to the cover letter and let's look at one of the cover letters. I know which one was good. I just went through one of them. Let's take this one. And this is for the journal. I think it was for the Information Organization journal. The paper has been rejected, but at least with them comments, which is already good for us. And there were reasons to reject the paper, but at least it went into the review process, which is important. You start with the first, you have to indicate that you dock to the discussion in this journal. So you have to show what is the connection to the journal. And you start with a description. We are writing to express our keen interest in submitting our research paper, name of your paper, to the name of the journal. With this work, we aim to contribute to the ongoing academic discourse in I&O surrounding AI technology and its transformative effects on individuals and organizations. And here are the references. They are all from this journal. This is a subject closely aligned with the journal's aims and scope. So we said that it's really in line with the journal's aims and scope. The two articles mentioned below indicate that our study might be a perfect fit for the academic discussion running on the pages of I&O. And here we build the link. So first of all, we indicated that it is interesting for the journal, fits the aims and scope. And here we have to identify how it fits the discourse that we're going to dock to. For instance, while our research stands independently, it is continuing a discussion started by who showed that crowd work challenges prevailing assumption about digital work. This motivated us to investigate how emerging AI technologies transform individual self-perception and their preferences concerning job context. What the authors might have missed in their research is the aspect of employees' identity. So be afraid. Don't criticize other papers. Don't say they were wrong. Just say that you would like to expand them. You want to extend something. You want to add something to this notion. You build up the discussion. You don't criticize just so. Moreover, it is likely that editor could have been editor of this paper, could have been reviewer of this paper, or one of the reviewers of this paper will also be your reviewers. That's why take care. What the authors might have missed in their research is the aspect of an employee's identity that might be threatened by the very new technology of generative AI. Generative human-like text, generating AI in our event ChatGPT, may make users feel substituted or vice versa enabled. And we showed the first discussion that we wanted to. The second discussion stream was our research was also inspired by the longitudinal case study on librarians navigating the digitization of their work environment. This study resonates with our research focused on identity transformation within the context of AI adoption. Although the specificity of Bordeaux and colleagues' work is lacking our sample, our study still adds to the continuing academic debate about competing forces and technology adaptation. On the other hand, our study emphasized the triadic nature of identity in the context of AI revolution and how interwoven it is. Here we make two things. First of all, we dock to the previous paper and we explain how exactly we want to extend it. And second, we indicate how we do it through this triadic nature of identity. Then it is very important that you write that your study is mature. You write our study has undergone through friendly review as well as peer reviews from a conference. And I named the conference just if people don't know what it is. We received very positive feedback from conference reviewer indicating that our work has reached the necessary degree of maturity to be submitted to an academic journal. Information organization was our first and only choice. By the way, it was at the beginning indeed the fact. Now, after the paper has been rejected, we have to rewrite it, rework it, and then we'll submit to another journal, including literature and from this specific journal, and trying to dock to their discussions. We believe that our study merits consideration for publishing I&O due to its creative theoretical framework, namely the Screechos experiment, solid empirical basis, and very actual topics, generative AI and identity. Here you can add that these topics are very well read and very well cited because the editor is interested in citations and having more readers. We hope that you consider work for consideration. We appreciate your consideration of our submission and look forward to working with I&O. Sincerely, and our names. Another example would be this was for a special issue, and the difference is that in the event of special issue, you first of all mention all the editors of the special issue, and here we did our homework to see that one was the doctor, 3 were PhD. There is a difference in Europe, it is the same from the status, but it's nice if you show that you have spelled it correctly. Second, we don't have to dock to all the papers in this journal because the discussion is maybe even new to this journal. That's why they start a special issue. They want to show something new. That's why you dock here to the description of the special issue. Go to the special issue and read there what they want to have. So with our work, we would like to join the discussion special issue as we hold it as very timely and important, and as we believe that we have a great contribution, both the topic of contrarian thinking about the values in our digital world and AI in particular. For this research, we compiled a dream team. Here we mentioned our dream team, and there was a reason for this, just because we were very different people from different research fields. We have a lawyer, we have behavioral scientists, we have the AI specialist, generative AI specialist, and I was there as experimentalist. And this could explain in the next paragraph why we needed this team and why it's worth considering us. Otherwise, the editor, if he knows you are one of the co-author, may think, yeah, you are not from the information systems field, you're wrong here. Together, we found a way first to operationalize contrarian thinking in the form of the Screechos experiment. This is my role. It is moving from polemics to empirical observation of behavior when confronted with values that may be at odds with each other. Second, using the competence of our team members, we introduced the notion of values, ethics, morality, and principlism to information systems. Unfortunately, our other colleagues from the field often use these notions interchangeably, whereby there are crucial differences from philosophical and legal standpoint. So we show again why we need to have a lawyer and specialist in the field of values and ethics, and how it will help us to make our paper even more interesting for the journal. Finally, we made an EU-wide comparison and showed that there are cultural reasons for contrarian perceptions of values related to AI. In our work, we focused on AI in particular, yet the results might be generalizable to other digital technologies. One of the reasons was that they also wrote about AI and other digital technologies, so this is a connection to the special issue topic. We believe that our work is groundbreaking. By the way, I do believe it is. However, we must admit that the cross-disciplinary nature of our paper, law versus information systems versus philosophy, may make the review process challenging, bringing notions from fields with such profoundly different backgrounds in one paper in a harmonious way is a tough challenge that we have been striving for. We hope we succeeded, but the review process will show whether we are right. It should also evoke interest and really to think about, okay, let's see what the reviewers will say about it. We would also like to stress the novel methodological approach that we applied. Discrete choice experiments might be a great way to address contrarian thinking. We hope that our paper will inspire other researchers from the contrarian thinking field to follow our example and get better empirical results for this study for this urgently needed approach in our complex digital world. Moreover, we want to emphasize, and here comes the strength of our methodology, that our approach allows us not only to confront experiment participants with contrarian value reflections and trace their decision, but also implies causality. The latter brings our study to a different level, as most value-reflexive research is conducted in qualitative or quantitative survey way, most are revealing correlations, not causations. We found a way to resolve this issue. This is kind of one more cool thing that we have in our paper. We hope that you like our approach and give our paper a chance to meet the reviewer's eyes, of course, and there are some other things. We have some right here, several friendly reviews. We hope we have addressed these views. Now we have more reviews, so now we can develop the paper even further. And we hope that you will find our study in the development in the developed theory worth considering for publication in the special issue of the European Journal of Information Systems. Don't forget to mention the journal, because sometimes people may think that you wrote a universal cover letter and you write it. Just you send it to any journal. Should not be the case. You write always the paper for the journal, and that is why you have to mention this journal. It should be mentioned not only once, but several times. You should clearly show that the paper is for this journal, for the discussion on the pages of this journal. And in this event, I don't see a reason why an editor would say, I want to reject your paper and I want to send it back. There is also a cover letter for the essay. In some journals, I try to do it, but I don't think we need to go through it right now. If you're interested in a cover letter for the essay type paper, you can let me know. Mostly, many journals that have essay as the clear format, they suggest that you take contact with the editor and write about what you want to do. Then you don't need the cover letter because it will be your communication with the editor. Some journals, I think these are the Springer journals, they provide a universal type of paper which is called the viewpoint, which is actually an essay, but the journals don't know what is a viewpoint. Very often they don't receive viewpoints. And that is why we needed to write a different cover letter for this viewpoint, just to explain to the journal what we mean by this and why we want to get that. And that was it. I hope it was helpful. Now you know the structure, now you know how to write it, and let me know in the comments what you think about it, and ask your questions or indicate if you need an additional video to some topic of your interest. Good luck and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.